I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is Planning Commission. It is Wednesday, February 11th, 2026, 6:30 p.m. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Ms. Laser?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Greenberg.
Here.
Laser.
Here.
Mako.
Here.
Pollier.
Here.
Chapaka.
Here.
Suriano.
Here.
Tamarkin.
Here.
Moving on to Section B in our agenda. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda this evening?
No.
Thank you. Moving on, we will approve the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from January 14th, 2026?
So moved, Tamarkin.
And do I have a second?
Second, Suriano.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Tamarkin, second by Mr. Suriano. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Tamarkin.
Yes.
Suriano.
Yes.
Laser.
Yes.
Mako.
Yes.
Pollier.
Yes.
Chapaka.
Yes.
Greenberg.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on, the swearing in of applicants and speakers. Mr. Assistant City Attorney, would you please swear in and give the oath to people that are speaking on an application tonight?
Yes. We are now at the public hearing portion of the meeting. The public hearing will operate as follows. Administrative staff will make a presentation or comment on the application. The applicant or their representative may then make a presentation or comment on the application. The applicant has 10 minutes to present, and additional time may be requested. Permission is at the discretion of the chair. Public comment will then be open for 3 minutes allowed per speaker. Additional time may be requested. Permission is at the discretion of the chair. Speakers must complete a speaker slip and come to the podium and state their name and address. The applicant will then be given 10 minutes to comment. Additional time may be requested. Permission is at the discretion of the chair. If there is more than one application pending for a particular address, the presentation on each application may be consolidated and presented as one. At this time, will persons wishing to present testimony this evening please rise and raise your right hand to be sworn in. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, state I do. I do. Thank you.
We'll now move on to the applications and public comment of our agenda this evening, starting with V-0003-2026, to consider a variance application to vary Section 1103.18, Creekside Residential of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Gahanna for property located at 134 Short Street, parcel ID 025-000078, current zoning CR, Creekside Residential, Erica Cook, applicant. And we'll begin with the administration to give us a presentation.
This first application is a variance at 134 Short Street. The site is located underneath the Red Star and is zoned Creekside Residential. It shares the same zoning district as all of the other properties shown in that grayish blue color. One thing to note is that the majority of the properties in this zoning district are very narrow and deep. And something else that you can kind of notice on the zoning map here is that most of them have detached garages to the rear of the property with access off of an alley. The applicant is requesting approval of a variance to allow a detached garage within a front yard setback. The site is a corner lot, so it has 2 front yards along Short Street and Walnut Street, and the standard front yard setback for all structures in Creekside Residential is 15 feet. One thing that's unique to Creekside Residential is there's a 0-foot setback along the alley to account for all of the existing garages. So the proposed garage is only 1 feet from the north property line, which is along an alley, so there's no variance required for that. But it's only 0 feet from the west property line, so that's why a variance is required. The existing detached garage on the site was built in 1909, and it encroaches over 1 feet into the right-of-way. The applicant states that the existing garage is in disrepair and needs to be replaced, and it currently only fits 1 car. The new garage would no longer encroach into the right-of-way at all. It would be 708 square feet, which is almost the same size as the existing garage and would fit 2 cars. For the exterior materials, it'll be gray metal siding and a gray roof. Here is a site plan that was submitted. The location of the garage is shown with the blue square. You can see that the existing garage is in almost the exact same location. It's kind of underneath the blue square. And then the red line is the 15-foot front yard setback off of Short Street. So the existing house encroaches into that setback by around 5 feet, and the garage encroaches into it by about 15 feet, 16 feet if you include the right-of-way. Here are some elevations for additional context. Once again, it will be gray metal exterior materials. Here are some images of what the shed or the garage in the backyard looks like today. The upper left-hand image was taken from the backyard, and then the one on the upper right-hand side was taken from the corner of the alley and Walnut Street, and then Short Street, my apologies. And then the 2 bottom images show tree roots from 3 existing mature trees in the backyard. You can see that those roots are pretty close to the existing garage. So that combined with the 3 existing trees further limit where a new garage could be placed. And then here's an aerial view of the site. Once again, you can see all of the trees in the backyard. And there's 1 variance requested with this application. It is for Chapter 1103.18, which states that the front setback for all structures in Creekside Residential is 15 feet, and the detached garage is only 0 feet from the west property line. This is the standard variance criteria that must be met in order for the application to be approved. And finally, staff recommends approval of the variance as submitted. The existing garage encroaches into the right-of-way and is over 100 years old and needs to be replaced. The proposed garage aligns more with code requirements, and there is limited space on the site to place a garage due to the 3 mature trees, the roots, and the narrow lot. Staff believes that the proposed garage is still in character with the neighborhood due to all of the other detached garages in the area, and approving this variance would not have any negative effects. The engineering department also reviewed this application, and there are no site triangle issues with the new garage. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now open public comment. Would the applicant like to speak? Just as a reminder to anyone speaking this evening, any of the applicants speaking this evening, you'll have 10 minutes to speak. I will put this little clock up here so you can see the time you have. And then anyone else that wishes to speak from the public will have 3 minutes. So if you'd like to begin, state your name, address, and relationship to the property.
Sure. My name is Erica Cook. My address is 134 Short Street, and I'm the applicant. I don't have much to add. I appreciate that was a very thorough description of the application. The one thing I did want to add is that Short Street itself as a street, I know it indicates that it's 59 feet as a right-of-way. The street itself is about 15 feet wide, and the right-of-way extends onto what would appear to be our front yard by 22 feet. And so when I am asking for a variance of, from the 15-foot setback down to 0 feet, we're not actually really very close to the road at all. We're still 22 feet back because of that right-of-way. So I just wanted to clarify that. But otherwise, I wanted to make myself available for any questions.
Thank you. All right. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment? Seeing none, I will close public comment, and we will start with questions from the commission, starting on my left with Mr. Shapaka.
Madam Chair. Erica, can you please back up?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I should have asked you to stay.
Can you give us a description of what the current condition of the garage is?
Sure. So you can actually see in that top left photo, the front portion of the garage is the oldest portion. I believe that parts of the back section of it, which are on the right side of that photo, were added on at some point after the original build. It has a lot of original timber that then at some point there was repaving done inside the garage and asphalt was put down, but there was no buffer between the asphalt and the timber, so there's actually a lot of rot. We were looking at what we could do to repair, to add like an exterior door. Right now, the only access to the garage is the vehicle access, which when we lose power, we no longer have ability to open. And so when we were looking at repairing it, the recommendation was that it would be like putting lipstick on a pig, and would be more difficult to repair versus replace.
Well, we're familiar with the lipstick on a pig concept. The selection for the new garage is a all-metal building. It looked like that was not a conventionally framed structure. If you can bring up the floor plan, I believe it's the next slide.
I don't think I have the floor plan in the PowerPoint.
Okay. So the metal building itself, is there a reason why it's not a horizontal lap siding vinyl?
So we looked into a few different companies, and we consulted with several arborists in relation to the large trees. And ultimately, what we were looking to do was create the least disturbance to the tree roots. And it was recommended to us that we do a pole structure. And so rather than having a full footer, the garage is going to have pylons. And so there would be a pylon approximately every 7.5 feet. So the side closest to the house and the side closest to the alley would each have 5. And then there would be one additional on each of the other sides since the corner is there. And by doing so, rather than having the full footer, it's less disruptive to the tree roots. And we found a company out of Delaware. It's a locally owned business that they specialize in pole structures, and had good reviews, and they tend to do the metal siding. And so we went with that.
So it's a timber frame pole barn?
Yes.
With just a metal siding on it?
Yes.
Thank you. No more questions.
Mr. Mako?
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple questions for the administration. And this is going to be just, I guess, some more clarification for more than anything else. So this lot it's going to be technically a corner lot, correct? And that would make it have 2 front yards. Is that correct?
Yes.
So we're kind of dealing with a little unique situation here where we have two front yards on one lot. So it kind of makes it hard to, put the, square peg into a round hole. So just wanted for that clarification. And as proposed on the site plan, the proposed new structure would be constructed outside the right-of-way. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And again, just for clarification, if we do approve this variance, what's being proposed would meet all of their code sections.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. No further questions?
Mr. Soriano?
I have no questions, thank you.
Ms. Laser?
I just have one question. You're picking the gray for the new garage. It's the house in the one picture that I'm looking at. Is it gray? Is the house also gray?
The house is also gray. Right now, the house and the garage are the same color.
Got
I think the garage will end up being a slightly darker gray.
Okay. No further questions.
Mr. Greenberg?
No additional questions.
And Mr. Tamarkin?
One quick question. Where's the garage door on the new proposed garage?
So it's in approximately the same place. The current garage door is not 2 cars wide. So the new garage door would be wider. It would be approximately 3 feet from the edge of the alley side of the garage. And then it would extend, I believe it's 18 feet towards the house.
So you pull out you open the garage door and you're on Lodge Alley or you're on Short Street?
We're on Short Street.
You're on Short Street.
I can tell you all about why if you'd like.
One more concern, and you're going to be right on the property line, but there's a 22-foot easement that is, I assume in front of the garage asphalt.
Yes.
So you
it's-
have room, you're not pulling into traffic.
That's correct. It's exactly as shown. There was a photo that had the cones in it
Yeah.
that shows the asphalt there. Yes, that top right photo. Our intent is not to disrupt any of that asphalt. That's all right of way.
Is it your asphalt or the city's asphalt?
Great question. We've only been in the house about 8 months, so it's been there as long as we have.
Okay. So, again, though, you have room to maneuver a car before you're in traffic, not that it's a heavily trafficked street.
That's correct.
Okay.
And, yes.
Okay. Madam Chair, that's all I have.
Thank you. I do not have any questions this evening. Are there any additional questions from the commission? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve V-0003-2026?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the variance application number V0003-2026.
Is there a second?
Second, Greenberg.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Shapaka, seconded by Mr. Greenberg. Any discussion on the motion? We'll start with you, Mr. Shapaka.
Thank you. I think the variance is, I'm in favor of the variance. The metal building, I don't think we're voting on that tonight. I hope that you would reconsider putting up a lap siding. So it'd be more like the house. The character of the garage does not match the character that is there now. But hopefully you can, as you work through the building permit, putting it on a zero lot line, there is a fire rating associated with that. You'll probably be crossing that, but again, that's not under our purview at the moment. But I will be voting in favor. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Mako.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm also going to be voting in favor for this. I think all the variance criteria are met for what's being proposed, and I'll be in favor. Thank you.
Mr. Soriano.
No comments, but I am in favor.
Ms. Laser.
No comments.
Mr. Tamorkan.
No comments?
I also will be in favor of this variance this evening. I think that I drove past your property over the weekend, and I agree that I think this new garage will be better aligned with our code requirements, and it definitely will improve the aesthetics of the area as well. So I would also be in favor of it. Is there any additional comments before we call roll? No? Okay. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Chapaka.
Yes.
Greenberg.
Yes.
Mako.
Yes.
Pollyea.
Yes.
Suriano.
Yes.
Tamarkin.
Yes.
Laser.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving on to the next agenda item this evening is V-0004-2026, to consider a variance application to vary section 1111.03 permanent sign standards of the codified ordinances of the City of Gahanna property located at 825 Tech Center Drive, parcel ID 025-011536, current zoning IM, Innovation and Manufacturing, Gahanna Municipal Building, Alex Barnett, Atlantic Sign Company, applicant. And would the administration like to give a presentation, please?
This variance application is located at 825 Tech Center Drive, which is the location for the new Gahanna Civic Center. It is zoned Innovation and Manufacturing and located on the south side of Tech Center Drive. The applicant is requesting approval of a variance for 5 new wall signs. For this site, the zoning code only allows 1 wall sign at 50 square feet or less. The total area of all proposed 5 wall signs is 98.34 square feet, and the largest wall sign of the 5 is 65.81 square feet. There's also a monument sign that will be installed on site, but this was not included with the variance application since it meets all code requirements. And the total sign area, when including the monument sign, is 123.66 square feet, which is below the maximum allowed area of 400 square feet. The applicant states that all 5 signs are necessary for the building because of the various departments and services that will all be housed in the Civic Center. This includes the Senior Center, Event Center, Police, and all the other city departments. Here is a site plan that shows the location of each of the signs. The one that's closest to the right-of-way is on the top right. That's the event center sign, which is 4.8 square feet. Then is the senior center sign, which is over the entrance for the senior center, and that's 6 square feet. And the main building sign for the main entrance is 18.59 square feet. And then the police sign for their entrance is 3.1 square feet. And the largest sign is the police headquarters sign, which measures 65.81 square feet due to the 2 police shields. Then here are some more details on the signs with dimensions included. As you can see, the 2 police shields greatly increase the size of the police headquarters sign. So when you measure it using the box method, that's how it comes out to 65.81 square feet, even though the letters are around the same as all of the other signs. There are 2 variances included with this application. Both are for Chapter 1111.03. The first states that the maximum wall sign area is 50 square feet. There is 1 wall sign that's above this at 65.81 square feet, and the total wall sign area exceeds this at 98.24 square feet. The next is that only 1 wall sign is permitted per frontage, and since this site only has 1 frontage, only 1 wall sign is permitted, and there are 5 proposed. Did that just go out? Okay, I'm gonna keep going. It's the same standard variance criteria as the previous application. And then I don't have any other images, so that's good. But staff has no objection to the variance as submitted. The total signage area is far below the maximum. It's the same standard variance criteria. Oh God, I didn't like that. That's okay.
Mute that.
The building entrance is around 300 feet from the right-of-way, so additional signage is necessary for visibility and wayfinding, and staff does not believe that granting the variance would have any negative effects. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now open public comment. Would the applicant like to speak?
Only for questions, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to comment? Okay, then I will go ahead and close public comment and open it up to questions from the commission. I assume we'll probably have a few. If you're...
We're good. I can take questions.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay, that works.
With no visuals.
No, you're fine. As long as that works for you, it works for us.
We do have the vendor in the room as well, so if there are any specific questions about materials and things, we'll turn it over to them.
Okay, thank you. We'll start with you over here, Mr. Stapaka.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Are you, any anticipation at all of other signage and path and wayfinding around the back of the building?
Great question. There are 2 entrances to the property. The main entrance where Maddie pointed out the monument sign. And then there's a rear entrance, which we're actually not advertising as a public entrance. That's really the staff entrance for the secured parking that we've talked about in the past. And then senior membership, so membership only. They can park back there and then access a secure door off the back. There is a small wayfinding sign off the corner of the building, very tiny, that basically indicates, because you can make what would be I guess it's a right-hand turn. Sorry, I'm all discombobulated at the moment. A right-hand turn and access the front of the building if you accidentally came in that back entrance.
You had 1 monument sign out front off of Tech Center. Is there a connection between the other lot to the west and any monument signage there? Or?
There's only the 2 entrances to the property. The one where the monument sign is in the middle of the and then to the east is the second entrance that I just spoke about. Those are the only 2 entrances.
Thank you. Other questions, Madam Chair?
Mr. Mako?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I actually have no questions. Thank you.
Mr. Soriano?
I have no questions either. That was pretty clear. Thank you.
Ms. Laser?
No questions.
Mr. Greenberg?
Couple of questions. The event center sign is on the gray brick. It's really, is that the color that it's going to be?
It is actually not gray brick. It's It's more like a limestone color.
Okay, but the lettering is,
The lettering is of a grayish variety, yes, correct.
okay. And the same question about the police, is that the same color? Not
Correct,
the-
same color palette on both sides of the building. The building's anchored by those stone bookends, if you would.
Because that really looks hard to see with the gray on gray.
It's
Looks
not gray on gray.
It's not?
No, it's gray on limestone. So I think maybe in the slide deck there, again, it's more tannish, we'll call it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, that'll be better.
absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Tomarkin?
No questions?
I just have one question also about that event center sign that Mr. Greenberg was referring to. My question is just, if you're looking at I know we can't see the rendering here, but the sign itself is like about 3/4 down toward like the base of that structure. Is that how it's going to appear, or is it going to be higher? Like, I'm just trying to envision how easy it would be for people to see that that was the event center.
So the event center there, what you're looking at in the profile there that's 1.5 stories.
Okay.
So that is right at the proper elevation
It
for a
is,
sign like
okay.
that, yes.
It was just kind of hard to,
Yeah, it's a little bit, I'm looking at the picture here, it is a little deceptive.
okay. And then also the letters, they're gonna be like, you'll be able to see the back too, right? Like they're gonna be like perched on some other kind of a,
They have an offset off the
Nothing.
back side of them,
Okay,
correct? So they
so-
sit off of the building itself.
okay, that was my question. Yeah, because I don't see that they would adhere to anything like in the back of them, I guess. Okay, no problem. I don't have any additional questions. Does anyone else have any additional questions? Okay. Then do we have a motion to approve V-0004-2026?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to make a motion to approve item V-0004-2026.
Is there a second?
Chappaqua?
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Mako, seconded by Mr. Chappaqua, and we'll move on to discussion on the motion. Mr. Chappaqua, I'll start with you.
No discussion.
Mr. Mako.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be voting in favor of this. I think, given the nature of the building, this makes total sense. And also from a logical standpoint, we want our citizens to know where to go when they come to City Hall. So I'll be in support of this. Thank you.
Mr. Soriano.
I concur with Mr. Mako. I'm also going to be in favor of this variance. I think given the location and siting of the building, we actually need some really clear signage. So I'll be in favor.
Ms. Laser.
No comments.
Mr. Greenberg.
I'm in favor. No further comments.
Mr. Tamar.
No comments?
I am also going to be in favor of this variance tonight. I think I agree with Mr. Soriano that we definitely need visibility to see not only what is in the new at 825 Tech Center, but also to see where things are located and also what is there. Because previously, not all of these departments were in one place. So for people that don't necessarily know, I think it's important for them to be able to see everything clearly when they come. And we have also granted variances in the past for this exact same type of issue so that people can see signs better from a distance. So I will also be in support of this variance. And with that, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Mako.
Yes.
Chappaqua.
Yes.
Greenberg.
Yes.
Laser.
Yes.
Pollyea.
Yes.
Soriano.
Yes.
Tamarkin.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on to Z-0001-2026, to recommend approval to City Council a zoning application for 2.26 plus or minus acres of property located at 4530 North Hamilton Road, parcel ID 027-000002, current zoning NC Neighborhood Commercial, proposed zoning GC General Commercial Hotel Development Project, Rebecca Mott, Plank Law Firm applicant. We'll begin with the administration for a presentation, please.
This is a rezoning application for 4530 North Hamilton Road. The site is currently zoned neighborhood commercial, which is represented by that pink color. You can see there are multiple other sites in the same area that share that zoning district. And then all of the brown areas, those are multi-unit residential. So that includes apartments, attached condos, duplexes, anything that's more than 1 unit per building. So directly to the east of the site is the woods at Shagbark. And then on the other side of Hamilton Road, there's the villas of Gahanna and the vista at Rocky Fork. And then some additional residential property to the east. And then those yellow areas on the south side of the zoning map, those are single-family residential properties. And then the red properties to the north, those are the closest sites that are zoned general commercial. And the one on the right is the Giant Eagle site, and on the left is Stone Ridge Plaza. There is a bit of history in this area as well. In 1955, a single-family house was built on the subject site. And then in 2001, construction started for the woods at Shagbark. In 2003, this site was annexed into the city of Gahanna. And then in 2013, applications and permits were approved for the new Firestone site to the south of the subject site. And then in 2021, similar applications were approved for a new Valvoline just north of the Firestone. And then more recently, in May 2024, the site was rezoned to neighborhood commercial from estate residential during the zoning code rewrite process. And the following month, a rezoning application was approved for the site to the south. That was a rezoning from estate residential to multi-unit residential with a limited overlay. And this was for development of attached condos. The city has not yet received any additional applications since the rezoning. The applicant is proposing rezoning the site from neighborhood commercial to general commercial. Neighborhood commercial is specifically for commercial lots that are immediately adjacent to residential properties. This is because in neighborhood commercial, the zoning code does not allow higher intensity uses, such as hotels in this case. The site was designated neighborhood commercial in 2024 with the zoning code rewrite. This is due to the residential zoning districts to the east and to the south, as well as additional residential areas on the other side of Hamilton Road. All of the adjacent commercial parcels were also designated as neighborhood commercial. This includes the Valvoline and the Firestone sites. And neighborhood commercial actually does not allow auto services. So the intent is in the future when those sites are redeveloped, there'll be less intense uses as well. As shown on the zoning map, the closest sites that are zoned general commercial are Giant Eagle and Stone Ridge Plaza to the north, which are both large-scale retail uses that are more intense than what's permitted in neighborhood commercial and closer to Morse Road as well. Here is a table that shows some of the differences between neighborhood commercial and general commercial. First is setbacks. So when you see a range of setbacks, the lower one is when the property is not adjacent to a residential site, and the higher setback is for when it is. So neighborhood commercial, they range from 10 to 20 feet, and general commercial, they're from 20 to 35 feet. General commercial has higher setback requirements because there tend to be more intense uses on those sites. For building height, it's 35 feet in neighborhood commercial and 50 feet in general commercial. The lot coverage is 70% and then 75%. And then the rest of the items on the table are uses, various uses that are permitted or conditional in general commercial and are not in neighborhood commercial. The first is hotels. Those are not permitted in NC, but they are in GC. And then auto sales and services. The auto sales are permitted in GC and the services are conditional. Bars are not permitted in NC, but they are in GC. And then large-scale retail, which is like a large grocery store or something like Stone Ridge Plaza, where it's at least 25,000 square feet of retail. That's conditional in neighborhood commercial, but permitted in general commercial. And then small-scale light industrial is permitted in GC conditional in GC along with trade contractors and drive-through uses. And the drive-through uses are accessory to things like fast food restaurants and banks. So in this case, the proposed rezoning to general commercial is for a future hotel development. However, in general, rezoning applications only approve the new zoning district designation, so you're not approving a use or project today. Hotel uses are only permitted in general commercial Innovation and Manufacturing, which is our industrial zoning district, and Creekside Mixed Use, which is the downtown Creekside area and portions of Granville Street. Hotels are conditional and restricted institutional and conservation. The applicant did have to provide a conceptual site plan. They're required for rezonings to ensure that the use is able to fit on the lot while meeting zoning code criteria. In this case, it would be a 60-foot tall hotel with 86 rooms, 86 parking spaces, and an outdoor pool. The current site plan that was submitted requires variances for building height. The maximum height is 50 feet, so it exceeds it by 10 feet. Parking setbacks, since there is some parking that's located to the front of the building. And at this time, there are no EV charging spaces shown in the parking lot, so a variance is required for that as well. However, this is a preliminary review, and if future applications are submitted, additional variances may be identified at that time. In terms of landscaping, there's 2,300 square feet of new landscaping, 38 new trees, a hedge along the right-of-way for some additional screening, and a 6-foot tall landscape screen between the hotel and the adjacent residential properties to the east. Here is the conceptual site plan that I was referencing. So the green line indicates the 10-foot parking setback and buffer, and then the blue line is the front parking setback. So there you can see that there is some parking to the front of the building. The hotel building itself meets all setback requirements, and there where it says around 17.6 square feet, that's its closest point to any property line. And that's the property to the north that's zoned neighborhood commercial. So one of the criteria for approving a rezoning application is compatibility with the land use plan and its recommendations. The land use plan is not a regulatory document like the zoning code is, but it does provide recommendations for development in the city and what the city's future goal is for development. In the land use plan, there's a future land use map. This site is designated as mixed use in the future land use map. And you can see that with the yellow star in the image on the left. All the sites that are pink are designated as mixed use. Within that designation, retail, office, and residential are the three recommended uses that are listed. The mixed use designation also states that buildings should be oriented towards the street with parking to the side and rear, and it also emphasizes public amenities and green space. Out of all of the future land use designations in the land use plan, the only one that lists hotels as a recommended use is community commercial, which is essentially the land use plan equivalent of general commercial. So all the sites that are shown in red on the left are community commercial. So you can see that includes Stone Ridge Plaza. The site is also located in the North Gateway Focus area, which provides some additional recommendations. Within this area, commercial and multifamily uses are recommended, with commercial uses oriented towards the street. Okay. So here are some next steps for the project. If Planning Commission recommends approval of the rezoning to City Council would then vote on the rezoning application, and if they approve it as well, the applicant would then have to submit a major development plan application prior to site development. At this time, it appears that a variance application would also likely be required. Both of those applications only require Planning Commission approval, so the only time that City Council would see this project is for the rezoning. If Planning Commission does not recommend approval to City Council, then this application does not go on to City Council for a vote, and there will not be additional applications at this time. Here is the rezoning criteria. Similar to the variance criteria, all of these items must be met in order for the application to be approved. The first is consistency with the goals of the land use plan. As mentioned, hotels are not listed as a permitted use in mixed use, and the site layout does not fully match recommendations in the land use plan. The next is compatibility of areas' environmental features with all potential uses allowed. Then it's compatibility of all potential uses allowed in the proposed zoning. So this site was specifically zoned neighborhood commercial due to it being adjacent to multiple residential neighborhoods, And neighborhood commercial only allows uses that are more compatible with residential, versus general commercial permits higher intensity, larger scale uses that are not as compatible with residential sites. The next is capacity of city infrastructure. And the last one is apparent demand for permitted uses and other available sites in the city that could accommodate the use. So staff does receive a few requests for hotel developments, but not as many as some other use types. And there are many sites in the city that are zoned IM and GC, which are the two zoning districts that permit hotels without a conditional use or rezoning. And there actually are a lot more general commercial sites in the city than neighborhood commercial. And a lot of the neighborhood commercial sites that we have tend to be smaller in size too. Finally, staff recommends disapproval of the rezoning as submitted. Staff believes that not all of the rezoning criteria has been met, especially compatibility with the land use plan and the surrounding uses. As mentioned, the land use plan only lists hotels as a permitted use for community commercial and not in mixed use. And staff does not believe that general commercial is compatible with the surrounding uses, as they are primarily residential, and then other sites that are also zoned neighborhood commercial. The site was intentionally rezoned to neighborhood commercial by city staff in 2024, and staff still believes that this is the most appropriate zoning district for the site and is more compatible than general commercial. Thank you.
We will now open public comment. Would the applicant like to speak? Just as a reminder, you have 10 minutes, and if you could state your name, address, and application, relationship to the application before you start.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Mott with the Plank Law Firm with an office address of 411 East Town Street, Columbus, Ohio. I am the representative for the applicant. I'd like to set up my easel, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Do you need me to move this? Can you see? Okay.
Staff already went through the property and its location, so I won't go through that. And this map shows, again, the zoning map where all of the different zoning classifications surrounding the property are. And basically, you can see that the Giant Eagle General Commercial District is very, very close to our site. The couple parcels north of us are vacant, and so it's really close that the general commercial sits. The neighborhood commercial is to the south immediately, and also the east and west. We also have a mix of R4. But the important thing is that the general character of the neighborhood is mixed use. And that is what the land use plan talks about, that this is a gateway to the city of Gahanna. And the focus area number 3 is a mixed use designation. And that's what this area is. I also would like to go through the standards that we need to meet for a rezoning. The first one is the consistency with the goals, policies, and comprehensive land use plan. This focus area, again, acts as an entryway to the city. And so what it's looking for are developments that are a little bit more intense, that have connectability, like walkability with parcels to the north and south, which we have through a sidewalk. And also that it projects or promotes economic opportunities. Our hotel will bring 20 to 30 employees to the site, so that will generate income tax. We also have a bed tax on the property that will amount to over $70,000 per year to the city. And of course, the hotel can hire personnel from the local community. Also, visitors to the hotel that are staying there will likely visit other businesses and bring more income that way. The capacity of the city infrastructure and services to accommodate the uses permitted in the requested zoning district would be compatible with this project. There's going to be no adverse effect on the governmental services such as utilities, fire, police, emergency response, refuse collection, and mail. The city of Gahanna has sufficient infrastructure to take care of all of those needs. Number 3, the compatibility of zoning in terms of land suitability, impacts on the environment, density, nature of use, traffic impacts, aesthetics, infrastructure, and potential influence in the value of existing abutting lands. So I would like to go through several criteria here. The land suitability is that the hotel does promote that mixed-use designation that the land use plan calls for. And also in my zoning summary in your application materials, there's other criteria that I list that we meet. I'm not going to go through all of those here tonight because they're in your packet. But also in terms of density, an 86-unit hotel is not a dense project. It's a very low-impact intensity project. Basically, when people come to the hotel, they come in the evening, they park overnight, and they leave in the morning. So there's not a lot of customer circulation throughout the day. So in terms of the traffic, we did a traffic impact study, even though we didn't need to do one, because the counts in AM peak for trips was only 36, and also in the PM peak, it was only 36 trips. We have, if you meet 60 in both of those categories, you need to do a traffic impact study. So we didn't need to do one, but we did one anyway, just to reflect what the traffic would be. And again, there's no public infrastructure improvements that are suggested or recommended based on our traffic. We're not generating any traffic that requires us to do any public infrastructure improvements. So that's really, really important. In addition, there's only going to be a right-in, right-out driveway access. There's no circulation to Shagbark Road to our south. So again, that's going to accommodate our use. There's also a median strip in the middle of Hamilton Road, which will restrict left turns coming into the site or out. Again, that means we have a very low impact on traffic. In terms of the aesthetics, I do have a handout to show you. It's a brochure of the prototype we're going to go with for a Comfort Inn and Suites. If I could approach the, okay.
Thank you.
I only have 5 of these. Could you two share, and I'll just give a couple more. Okay. Sorry, but we're very, I didn't want to.
It's okay.
So the hotel will be designed to complement surrounding developments and the upscale nature of the area. As you can tell, we're using modern materials, and the impact on property values, there will be no negative impact. When you have a responsible development that's low intensity with landscaping buffers for the residential uses, and also that it's a certainty in terms of development, that actually increases property values. So that's going to happen here. Number 4, the compatibility of the area's environmental features with the potential uses allowed in the proposed zoning district. So the physical and geological conditions of the property permit a hotel and are appropriate for construction. The land is relatively flat, again, allowing for the construction. The property is not within any floodplain or wetland area. And we're going to comply with all the stormwater regulations of the City of Gahanna's design manual. That will make sure we're doing proper drainage, that we're mitigating any runoff, and we're not promoting any erosion to the neighboring property areas. Also, we did an environmental assessment on the property, and there's no conditions specified for environmental remediation. The last criteria is the apparent demand for the types of uses permitted in the requested zoning district in the city in relation to the amount of land in the city currently zoned to accommodate the demand. We've done a market analysis, and it indicates a strong demand for a hotel on North Hamilton Road in this corridor. The proximity to John Glenn Columbus Airport and Easton Town Center and other major corporate offices dictate that. Also, there's a growth in business and leisure travel to Gahanna and surrounding Franklin County. The limited availability of hotels directly along the North Hamilton Road corridor with full-service amenities, including an outdoor pool, so this would meet that demand. In summary, the project aligns with the City of Gahanna's zoning and planning objectives. The problem is not our proposed use. The problem is that the actual zoning district does not permit a hotel. And I would like to go, my time or? No. I have 2 minutes, okay.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
You're fine.
I do want to talk about the permitted uses in the zoning district that we're in right now. In the neighborhood commercial district, it would permit some higher intensity uses than this hotel. So number one, it would permit a small-scale retail establishment, which would have a lot of traffic coming in and out throughout the day. In addition, it would allow a restaurant use, which again would generate more traffic than this hotel. So those would be permitted as of legal right, and an applicant would not need to come here for a rezoning request or conditional use. I also have a compromise if this board is thinking about the recommendation of staff in terms of a denial. We are more than happy to attach a limited overlay district to our rezoning designation to limit this site's development to only a hotel. And that could be the small professionally managed hotel that we are proposing, 86 units. And so that's what I'd like to suggest as a compromise. And what we would do is sign and date the site plan and commit to that site plan, that that is what is going to be constructed here. And we would just create a restriction on the permitted uses, that it's limited to the hotel. That way, none of those other more intense uses that staff was worried about could be developed here. At this time, I'll just entertain any questions you have, and I do have a site plan. I know it's up on the board.
Thank you. There will be time for questions after we finish public comment. So if you're finished for now, I'll just ask you to take a seat, and then I'm sure we will ask you to come back and answer questions when we are finished with public comment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I have several speaker slips this evening. And just a reminder, with the speaker slips, or anybody that wants to speak tonight, I'll call you, you'll come up to the podium, introduce yourself, your name, address, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. So I'll start with Mr. Ken Johnson, please.
Maddie, we
Madam
just take
Chair.
that down.
Madam
We take the
Chair.
easel down so we can see.
Was he sworn in? I thought he came in
Did he
late.
come late?
He came in late.
Sir, were you sworn in? Okay, do you mind swearing him in?
Certainly.
Thank you.
When you get to the podium, I can swear you in. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, state I do.
I do.
Thank you.
My name is Ken Johnson. I am a resident of Woods of Shagbark. I am not a representative of the board, so I'm here to talk about not a problem or anything with the hotel itself. In fact, this is agnostic to any use that might be put there. I noticed in the hotel's plan that there's a 160-foot distance between Shagbark Road and the hotel ingress, and that is too small for zoning. That could result in additional congestion at Shagbark Road and at the hotel ingress, and a similar property when something is installed at the north. Basically, as a strong towns advocate, hate to see so many curb cuts. In addition, the access to the landlocked property south of Woods at Shagbark is severely compromised at present. I believe that's one of the reasons it has a hard time selling. And lastly, the privately owned Shagbark Road is it's wholly owned access, our only wholly owned access to the Woods at Shagbark condos. So we need to take care about that. Now, what I'm suggesting is, okay, I'm going to give some benefits here before we get into the map, but the Woods at Shagbark, with my suggestion, would retain solely owned entrance, so there would be no change there. However, there'd be less paving and snow maintenance expense. I think we can all get behind that. And the benefit for the city of Gahanna is fewer curb cuts, and they're further apart on Hamilton Road. And the landlocked property should be easier to put on the tax rolls. And for everyone, because of fewer curb cuts, there would be fewer traffic snarls on Hamilton. What I propose is, and I'm sorry I didn't bring a thumb drive, but at the bottom where it says Shag Park Road, that's currently, the long straight part is currently owned by the condo association, I believe. I propose selling that to the city at a nominal price. That means we don't have to maintain it, we don't have to shovel it. And by the way, I showed this to half the board a couple of years ago. And of course, it gives the landlocked property a city road access. I asked for there's no request for action at this point, but I'd like to throw that out as a consideration.
Thank you. The next speaker will be Mr. Bruce Brown.
Hi, I'm Bruce Brown. I live at 1211 Shagbark in the woods of Shagbark. I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight because the hotel project could have a real impact on the daily lives of the families that live in Shagbark. I want to be clear that it's not an opposition for the sake of opposing development. We all know that's going to happen eventually on those 3 lots. I want to ensure that any project placed next to our neighborhood is compatible and respectful of all the people who already live there. And I don't feel a hotel would meet that standard. Number one, a hotel is a 24-hour-a-day operation, so I have noise concerns. Late night arrivals, ride-share traffic, mechanical noise from HVAC units, outdoor conversations, delivery trucks, trash pickup. They're not compatible with a residential setting. In addition, the proposed parking lot runs right alongside Shagbark Road, and we have 4 unit owners that are very close to that section where the parking lot is. I also have safety concerns. There's a bus stop for children that live at Shagbark, 150 feet or 160 feet from the hotel driveway. Hotels typically have a transient population next door to an area designed for permanent residents. Even with good management, a hotel cannot control the behavior of each guest. There's increased foot traffic, potential trespassing and loitering are all realistic concerns. I feel our neighborhood's not against growth, but we are asking for development that fits the scale, safety, and character of our community that we've all invested in. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. The next speaker we have tonight is Mr. Bill Miller.
Hi, my name is Bill Miller. I live at 1198 Sanctuary Place in the woods of Shagbark. I'm a retired architect with over 40 years' experience. I'm speaking in favor of the staff recommendations for this parcel. The zoning change from NC to GC should not be approved. The parcel in question was changed in 2024 from estate residential to neighborhood commercial. I can't help but thinking that the zoning change was at least partially influenced by the previously ill-advised proposals nearby for an auto body shop and another hotel. I hope the change was made to provide harmony with the woods of Shagbark, a beautiful community and also a major contributor to the tax base of Gahanna. Now we are confronted with a proposal for an 86-room hotel on the proposed site. I'm going to go through three major issues I have with it. First is height. The applicant wants a tall building. The proposed 60-foot height is the same as what's allowable in the Creekside mixed-use district. On Exhibit D, you have a rendering of that proposed boutique hotel that was planned for the Creekside. There are no other buildings approaching 50 or 60 feet along Hamilton between Morris Road, south beyond the Holiday Inn Express, near the freeway. Most buildings are under 35 feet. The NC height allowance is 35 feet. The GC height allowance is 50 feet. A variance is required to go 60 feet. There are two site plans proposed in the one in the application, the other in the traffic study. In either location, the building would tower over Shagbark and limit our residents' privacy. Site access, number two of my issues. There's no southbound ingress or egress from Hamilton because of the median. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that most potential customers will be coming east on Morris from the freeway and turning south on Hamilton. To access the site, guests would have to make a U-turn or go through Vista Drive or Beecher, so complex traffic problems. Number three, suitability. Comfort Inns is not an upscale hotel chain. Hotels, especially in Columbus, invite break-ins and crime. We'd be sitting ducks living next door. The proposed outside pool is a neighborhood hazard and maintenance problem. Parking lot lighting will spill over into Shagbark windows. What happens if the property goes downhill and becomes blighted like many other hotels in the Columbus area? 2 seconds. The initial deal for the hotel falls, if the additional deal for the hotel falls through after rezoning, the property could be used for automotive or other inappropriate uses. For these reasons, I support the staff recommendations and urge rejection to the zoning application.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Mrs. Jane Miller.
My name is Jane Miller. I live at 1198 Sanctuary Place in the woods of Shagbark. My husband, Bill, who just testified, and I have lived there in May, it'll be 21 years. It's a beautiful area, as he already said, wooded with a pond, and everybody enjoys it there very much. I'm a retired attorney, having practiced utility law, environmental law, and education law, and taught law at Ohio University telecommunications law. The purpose and intent of the zoning code is to protect and promote health and safety and comfort of the general welfare of the people in Gahanna. Well, as you've already heard, this 86-room hotel, 60 feet tall, Comfort Inn Suites, now I know, because it didn't say that in the application, it said Comfort Inn, approximately $100 a night, low-cost hotel, doesn't accomplish any of those purposes or comply with the requirements as pointed out by the staff in their staff report when they disapproved it. You should have pictures I gave to the clerk or somebody beforehand. Hopefully you have those available. They're labeled exhibits A through D. There's many Comfort Inns around the greater Columbus area. But nearby, there's a 3-story Comfort Inn that's Exhibit A, if I recall, in Pickerington. And then there is a Comfort Suites, which is a 4-story, 88-room hotel at the airport on North Cassidy. And then your Exhibit C shows a similar Comfort Suites. Well, the one on Cassidy is a Comfort Suites. I may have misspoken. Exhibit C is a Comfort Suites in Worcester, Ohio, that I provided for you also, so you can see the full front facade, how wide that building is, because Exhibit B couldn't even reproduce the whole front of it. And Exhibit D is a rendering off the Gahanna website of the new boutique hotel scheduled to go in down at Creekside. The zoning map, as already discussed, they're trying to change it from neighborhood commercial to general commercial. The purpose of the zoning districts is to be harmonious land uses with the geographical area. And that is done through the zoning of putting limits on use and placement and scale of the structure. This application interferes with Shagbar's harmonious uses and does not properly limit scale of the structure to, quote, small and medium scale entities, and does not blend in. Can I have a couple extra minutes?
I'm going to have to limit you to 3 minutes.
Okay.
If you just want to finish your thought.
I would just like to point out two more problems that I have data on. One is security. This is added to the city's police incidents. Current data from the Gahanna Police, 151 incidents of theft from cars at hotels and 202 cases of vandalism and property damage. In addition, there's no demand here for the hotel. I've spoken to the Convention and Visitor Bureau. I can give you those statistics. And also to the city's economic development director, who never heard of this project.
Thank you. The last speaker slip I have for this evening is Mr. George Maroos. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly.
You did well. My name is George Moss. My wife and I have lived at 1217 Sanctuary Place in Gahanna for almost 20 years. I've also been very active in Gahanna, serving as a volunteer and trustee, as well as an officer of the Gahanna CIC for the past 12 years. And currently, I am president of the CIC. So I am well aware of the impact that prudent economic development and its import to our community. I would like to thank the Planning Commission for allowing me time to speak to the proposed application for parcel number 027-00002-4530 North Hamilton Road, which is currently zoned neighborhood commercial. I ask that the Planning Commission vote against the rezoning of the property located at 4530 North Hamilton Road. There are three main reasons why the rezoning of this parcel should not be allowed. One, property value destruction to the Woods at Shagbark community. The Woods at Shagbark comprises 118 units and represents some of the most highly valued per acre residential real estate in Gahanna. In aggregate, the 5+ acres have a valuation of close to $45 million. Our community contributes close to $1 million in property taxes annually, as well as hundreds of thousands of dollars in income tax to support our community. If proposed, the zoning changes noted within the application would significantly diminish the overall value for our unit owners, the Shagbark community, and set precedent within the city of Gahanna. Number two, in 2024, the city undertook a complete update of the zoning code and zoning map, which in many instances stretch back to the late 1950s. As it relates to the parcel in question in the Northern Gateway, the city purposely downzoned or underzoned this to neighborhood commercial. This designation considers what might be appropriate for the parcel of a lower intensity nature and would include compatibility with surrounding parcels. And third, the proposed rezoning with a height variance of 60 feet would be incompatible with goals outlined in the most recent land use plan and conflicts with the compatibility of uses as noted in the most recent zoning update that would be reflective of a neighborhood commercial designation for this parcel. As a longtime Gahanna resident, I am fully supportive of economic development within our community, and specifically as it relates to property supporting the NC designation for a mixed-use project with lower intensity. The proposed development is contrary to the intent of the 2024 updated zoning codes and mapping code and zoning map. I ask the Planning Commission not allow the rezoning of that parcel to general commercial. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the public that would like to comment that hasn't filled out a speaker slip? Okay, seeing none, would the applicant like to respond? You'll have 10 minutes to do that. Whenever
Thank
you're
you.
ready.
Thanks. I would like to note that we have invited the neighborhood, Shagbark, and we were going to meet with the Board of Directors last month. However, it got rescheduled to next week. So unfortunately, it's after this meeting, but we are going to meet with the neighbors and talk about any solutions or concerns that they have, and we wanted to address those early. So I apologize that we weren't able to get that done in January. Now, I just want to make it clear that this property is already zoned commercial, so it's not a residential tract of land, and it's not going to stay vacant forever. It will be developed, and as I already pointed out, you could put a retail center here, which would be more intense than a hotel. And I also want to go through the site plan because a lot of the points the neighborhood made, I can speak to those things. There's going to be a fence around the pool in the rear, just to let you know, and our dumpster enclosure is in the back, but we do have a really good landscaping plan. So if you look at the chart on the landscaping plan at the bottom, it gives each of the perimeter property lines and how many trees are required, and we're providing all of the trees that are required under the zoning code. So again, it's over 38 trees. There's going to be 22 trees in the, I'm sorry. It's hard to read. Never mind. There's going to be a whole row of trees down here to the south along Shagbark Road. There's going to be a 6-foot hedgerow back here on the east side, along with deciduous trees. There's going to be a hedgerow in the front. So again, we're meeting all the standards of the zoning code, and that's an ample landscaping for buffering and any kind of noise that could be generated. There won't be outdoor areas that are open in the evening. There will be people coming, but they, again, just park overnight and typically leave in the morning. There won't be any deliveries throughout the day, and we're going to have a professional management staff on site. So it will be secure and safe. And with the lighting, we will meet zoning code requirements for the lighting. It will be downlit, so it will not spill to the neighborhood properties. It's not allowed to. There has to be a certain number of candles, light candles, and we're going to meet that standard. So there's really no detriment to the neighborhood as addressed or raised by the neighbors. We are going to be a quiet transitional use from the residential tracts of land to the commercial lands. And again, this is already zoned commercial. It will be developed. So I think I'll just answer your questions at this time.
Okay. Thank you. We will now close public comment and open it up to questions from the commission. Mr. Shapaka?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Right off the gate, Mr. Blackford, has the city given any entertainment at all of purchasing the Shagbark Drive?
Not that I'm aware of. There has been similar residential projects that have approached the city. The challenge is with a private drive, they're built to substantially different standards than a public roadway. So generally speaking, the city is not interested in taking on those burdens because it doesn't meet our requirements for public roadways.
So if it did, you would have to tear it out and build it to those standards?
Possibly, quite possibly, yes.
Thank you. Thank you for answering some of the questions that I had thoroughly. Good job. The fencing around the perimeter is always good. This is not our first hotel on this site. Is there a reason why you picked the southern lot and not the one closest to Giant Eagle?
I'm not aware of the site selection process for this. I was involved for the zoning approval process. I'm not sure if the northern tracks are for sale. I did obviously note that this parcel is for sale. I don't know if the other two are.
And the 60-foot height, that is a 4 or a 5-story building?
It's a 4-story building.
So the orientation of the building, I like the orientation of the building because it is, I know it's all hotels are supposed to address the street, but in this situation, all of the room windows are going to be going north and south. So I don't see the comment that was made about leering into the yards and privacy for the neighbors to the east really is not relevant in my mind. The 86 rooms, I was kind of against the last hotel, and then I kind of had reservations about that because, like has been mentioned, something is going to happen to this site. And I think I had a previous comment that Shagbark should just buy the land, and we wouldn't have this scenario again. But before us is another issue, and I think the neighborhood, the NC designation was pretty fitting in us addressing this issue. Did you ask to get a preliminary meeting before the board or the commission, kind of as a workshop?
Oh, I wasn't aware of a workshop informal process before the board, so I apologize if I was not aware. I did meet with staff and the engineering city staff, as well as, I think, planning about a year and a half ago with our engineer, Kyle Weber. We spoke to them and talked about any comments. We addressed issues up front in terms of the traffic impact study. We did that way before we even filed the rezoning. We wanted to get ahead of those issues and make sure that our access would work for the city. The city did approve of our traffic study. So they've approved the right-in, right-out access, and that works for our site.
So does Comfort Inn have a boutique style to where you can charge more money to get a upclass scale clientele?
So this is a Comfort Inn and Suites, which I believe is the higher end of the Comfort Inns. I would like to ask our client to address the nightly amount because this is not an extended stay hotel. This is an overnight stay hotel. So your typical hotel, so there won't be any of the negative impacts that the neighborhood addressed from maybe some extended stay hotels in other areas of the city. But I would like to ask our client if you have a question about the nightly cost. I can find that out. No? Okay.
No, I think we're good. But thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Mako.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A few questions for the administration on this. So, again, for clarification, this parcel was rezoned back in 2024 as part of the general comprehensive rezoning that took place in the city, correct?
Yes.
In this rezoning to its current designation as neighborhood commercial, that's reflective of the goals and vision in the master plan. Is that a correct statement?
Yes, in the land use plan.
Okay. So again, just wanted that for clarification. So the land use plan also talks about mixed use in the, in this vision for this corridor. And it was stated that hotels are not a permitted use within the mixed use designation within the master plan. Could you spell out what are some of the permitted uses as they pertain to mixed use and as it pertains to the master plan?
So in the land use plan, it's very broad. It doesn't really go into specific uses for each future land use designation. In this case, the recommended uses it lists are retail, office, and residential. And that's it. It doesn't really go into detail about what those are. I think it might give some examples of different retail uses. But in the entire land use plan, the only time that hotels are referenced was under the community commercial future land use designation. So under that permitted or recommended uses list, it calls out hotels in addition to retail uses. But it doesn't, really go into detail about every single use like the way the zoning code does.
Okay, fair enough. And then, could you kind of speak a little bit, to, there was mention that, these parcels are at some point going to develop. Could you kind of speak to what are the buffering requirements between adjacent properties? What are in the neighborhood commercial districts, and what are in the general commercial districts?
So for buffering and screening, the requirements are based on use instead of zoning district. So any commercial use, whether it's on a general commercial parcel or a neighborhood commercial parcel, would have the same buffering and screening requirements, which is 10 feet with a 6-foot tall continuous buffer. And then there's, I think it's 1 tree per 40 feet. If there's, I think there's, never mind. But yeah, so it'd be the same buffering requirements, whether it's general commercial or neighborhood commercial in this case.
Okay. So essentially, regardless of how this develops commercially, there are going to be some buffering requirements between whatever's built and the adjacent properties. I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at here.
Yes, just between the residential properties, though. There wouldn't be buffering, if just the site's being developed alone, there wouldn't be buffering requirements to the north. It would just be along the R4 zoning designation.
Okay. And then last question, I try to rack my brain about this, but which parcel did we do the rezoning for last year?
That's the one on the southern side of Shagbark Road, just east of the Firestone and the Valvoline.
Okay. I was trying to recall, and I couldn't think of that right off the top of my head. So
It's right where it says R4 on the zoning map on the screen. That's the site.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you. No further questions, Madam Chair.
Mr. Soriano.
I'm going to save most, I actually don't have any questions, more commentary that I'll save for discussion, but I would note that it came up several times in the presentation about mixed use, which there's certain uses in neighborhood commercial versus general commercial. We can go into those later, but mixed use, it's not mixed use as if just anything could be there under the mixed use category. It is really about mixing uses together, so multiple uses on site. So there isn't, other than a hotel, there isn't anything else proposed from the presentation on the site. So it by definition isn't meeting that criteria or that goal of the plan. And I would also say that I'm going to keep my comments relative to the zoning, the rezoning, and not relative to anything that's planned for the site, because what we're voting on is to transition this from one zoning to another. We're not voting on what the hotel looks like, how tall it is, how it's parked, anything. We're really voting on what it could be. So I'm going to hold my comments until discussion.
Thank you. Ms. Laser.
I'm on the same page. I don't have any questions, but I have a couple comments.
Mr. Greenberg.
Just a couple of questions. Are you going to allow semis on the property?
I don't know. I would assume that they could stay. Would you like to address that? We haven't really thought of that issue, and we don't want semi trucks to be there. That's not the intent.
I understand that, but, and not to get into too much detail, you have 86 spaces for 86 rooms.
Right.
You said there's 30 employees.
Right.
Where's everybody going to park? That's my question. My concern is the land use plan, and that we have a land use plan, and it basically states what each property in the city can be under the zoning and the development, and I personally have a hard time making adjustments when we really worked hard on that land use plan, and the public was involved in the development of that land use plan. And I think it's important that, as much as possible, we stick to it. So those are my comments.
Thank you. I do have a few questions about the site plan, even though I know, as Mr. Suriano says, we are voting purely on the zoning change, but I think it's important to understand what your plan would be for this. And I do appreciate you earlier stating that you would approve an overlay that restricted it to hotel. There's a couple discrepancies between the two different layouts, between what's on the screen and what was in your packet. So the first question is, the entranceway, as one of the speakers said, here is fairly far to the north, here it's on the south, which would be right at the Shagbark Road entrance, and here you do have an entrance on the Shagbark Road that would not be allowed, correct?
I see one to the rear by the pool for that entranceway, and then there is one in the front south on our site plan.
Well, the front, I would say the front north, middle at least.
South of the building, is that what you're looking at? The concrete sidewalk?
Where the cars would go in and out on the Hamilton Road there, which is right in the on the far left side on the middle. Yeah, the car ingress and egress, not the building, the cars.
Okay, what was your question then?
There's a discrepancy between this plan and the plan that was in the packet you sent out,
there-
where the curb cut's going to be located.
Okay. In the past, we had a site plan, I think it was before September, that had the building more to the rear. It had a dumpster in the front, and it had more parking in the front. Right now, this is the plan, where the building has a setback around 43 feet, and there's just the 2 to 4 parking spaces in the front setback area. And so this is the plan, the one you see on the screen and on my boards. We would commit to those site plans.
Okay, and no ingress or egress on the Shagbark Road, which you have no
No.
right to. Again, this really doesn't show the outdoor pool, but the one in your packet does. You're proposing an outdoor swimming pool.
That's correct.
And what would the hours of that pool be?
I'd have to find that out. I don't know.
Would it be open in the evening?
I would think it would close around dusk, but I would have to find out.
Okay. That is the extent of my questions. I'll have some comments.
Thank you. I have a few questions. When did you first begin working on the concept of this project, approximately?
I'd say a year. Has it been a year?
A year?
A year.
And during that year, did you ever reach out to anyone at the condo association?
No, we talked to them around December of 2025 to make that appointment in January.
Okay, but I'm just curious, since you were conceptualizing this for the past year, that wasn't a thought to maybe reach out to anyone there or the board or to
Well, we
discuss
didn't,
anything?
excuse me, I'm sorry.
No,
We-
you're fine.
We didn't have a concrete site plan until after September. That was the one we filed for zoning, and I think we filed in October.
I'm just
that
saying, just the
timeframe.
concept itself.
I
Since
wouldn't
you-
go to a neighborhood meeting without the final site plan because you're just entertaining issues that aren't relevant if you don't have a final site plan. I think that'd be disrespectful.
And then you mentioned in your application that you did a market analysis to determine that there was demand for this hotel.
Correct.
Can you speak to that a little bit? What kind of a market analysis was this?
I just received that we did a market analysis. That's the development team. I'm not part of that team. And it did show the demand because of the airport and the major corporate offices in the area.
Okay, so nothing was done as far as a market analysis within the city of Gahanna to determine whether that would be something that the residents would want, nothing like that?
Oh, not a survey of the residents, no.
Okay, so who exactly, what was this market analysis? I guess, I know you said you weren't involved with it, but I mean, you brought it up in your application. Are you able to speak to it at all?
Well, that it's regarding the financial feasibility of the hotel project, whether there's a market demand for it, whether it's going to be profitable, that type of study.
I see, okay. I'll reserve I'll reserve anything further for comments too. So I guess does anybody else have any questions before we move on? Okay, thank you. So do we have a motion to approve Z-0001-2026?
Madam Chair, I move to recommend item Z-0001-2026.
And do we have a second?
Second, Tamarkin.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Soriano, seconded by Mr. Tamarkin. And before I move on to discussion, Ms. Mott, you can take a seat if you'd like.
I would like to kind of understand the comments, because I might want to
Yeah,
table
I understand.
Okay.
And if we need to ask you to come back up to the
Okay.
podium for additional questions, we'll do so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so discussion on the motion. Mr. Chapaka, we'll start with you.
Thank you. Just a quick question. If she's interested in tabling it, we're not going to vote on it.
I think what I understood was she wanted to, based on the comments that are about to happen, she might make that decision.
After our
Yeah,
comments.
is that my understanding? Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Thanks for the clarification. So our land use plan is kind of a little governing code that we would like to adhere to. That lot has been vacant since I have been on this commission. I think a hotel could possibly work there if the community was a little bit more involved with it, and also a workshop for the planning commission. I think a little bit more positive after.
Madam Chair, I also and deliberate, and this is just would be ill-advised at this. Plus, again, the deliberate. Thank you.
Mr. Soriano.
Things. So rezoning talked about having an overlay that runs with the land, but either the current use or the future use to be. So I have concerns about that. A lesser district is insufficient for where it is. I mentioned before that this is designated as mixed use. This is a hotel would be a single use on the property. I don't think that's in alignment with. So this is within the North Gateway focus area, but it calls for a different type and a stronger identity, I think, than what would be proposed, and kind of how a hotel would improve the corridor of the character of this corridor. And I think it increases the intensity without really advancing that gateway idea. Compatibility, we talked a little bit about, but this really is going to be a high intensity use with the Giant Eagle, a lesser intensity use with the neighborhood commercial, and then a higher intensity use and then residential. And I just don't feel like abutting that residential use with a high intensity use is appropriate or compatible. And I simply just look at like contextually that there would be variances required, I believe, to get to the counts that you're requesting for the hotel, or that you're showing for the hotel. Again, those are really just for context, not for the voting, because I know it's not a final development plan tonight. But I just look at the neighborhood commercial versus general commercial. That zoning is going to stay with the land. It's not going to, it's not with the hotel. So if we rezone this to general commercial, we're allowing larger retail establishments, we're allowing regional retail uses, larger restaurants, bars and taverns, entertainment venues, drive-through facilities, and auto-oriented industries. Versus a neighborhood commercial, which it currently is, small retail shops, personal service businesses, professional offices, medical or dental, small-scale restaurants, banks, limited convenience retail, and small neighborhood services. So I feel like the neighborhood commercial, as we've dictated currently in the plan, are much more appropriate for a transitional zone between the kind of higher intensity uses at Morrison Hamilton versus as we go south on Hamilton Road along this corridor. So for those reasons, I'm not going to be in favor of rezoning.
Ms. Laser.
I am also not in favor of rezoning. Watching the difference between the general commercial of Giant Eagle, they have stoplights. You can turn right and left out of those establishments. I may not live in that neighborhood, but I'm on that road sometimes multiple times a day. And the idea that there'll be 80, possibly 86 people driving cars who have never even been to Gahanna, I wouldn't know how to get in and out of that hotel. And I worry what that would do to traffic, what it would do to people doing U-turns all along the street and causing issues for everyone. I think that this is a beautiful plan, and maybe it would be a better fit in a place that's already zoned for hotels, rather than switching this one over. Thank you.
Mr. Greenberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am in favor of maintaining the neighborhood designation and not the general moving to that because of many of the reasons that have been stated by my colleagues tonight. And I will not be in favor of making that change and recommendation to the City Council.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tough project. I think hotels are very good for the city. Previously was on the Visitors Bureau Board, which survives because of hotels and hotel taxes. And during my time on the board with other members, we were very anxious for another hotel in the city of Gahanna to help with our funding. I will say I'm very bothered by changing the zoning code, which is fairly new, 2 years. I think neighborhood commercial is appropriate for this location because neighborhood commercial, the definition is abutting a neighborhood. And since this abuts a neighborhood, it's probably, again, more appropriate, even though Vista Plaza across the street is neighborhood commercial. And if I was a neighbor, I would much rather have a hotel here than another Vista Plaza with trucks going around back and multiple dumpsters from multiple stores. And yeah, it's a tough conundrum with what is appropriate. These 3 sites are very difficult to develop. We've had it before. Prior hotel, Fine Line Auto Body wanted to go in there. We turned that down. That was not appropriate. Since then, automotive uses have been, let's call it banned or no longer in the code to be allowed to go there. But I think it's a difficult, these are going to be difficult parcels to develop because you need someone with the right in, only the right out. In a prior life, I did a lot of site selection work for a retailer. No retailer will ever take this site. No restaurant will ever take this site because of the difficulty of getting in and getting out. So even though neighborhood commercial allows those uses, it's never going to happen. Office, probably not. Residential, will someone put apartments in there someday? Maybe. Which may be worse. So again, I'll warn you, watch what you ask for, okay? Because as it was mentioned, someday these 3 parcels are going to be developed, but there's certain things that just aren't going to go in there. Retail will never take these sites because, again, the ingress and egress is too difficult. So, and then the last thing, I guess, before I wrap it up here, that bothers me the most is the 60-foot height. 60-foot height is not appropriate for this area. And with neighborhood commercial, 35 compared to the general commercial at 50, needing a variance to get to 60 regardless, that is a tough sell in my mind. So with that, putting aside my prior life as on the Visitors Bureau where we were begging for another hotel to come to town, I will vote against this at this point, but maybe encourage you to look at other locations in Gahanna with our development director who just walked in.
I just have a couple more comments to piggyback off of what my colleague said. I'm not opposed to an additional hotel in Gahanna. I don't think that it's appropriate to change the zoning in this location to allow for a hotel in this particular location. I'm also very conscious of the objections of the adjacent condo association. I don't think there's been enough interaction or any interaction with them, just as far as conceptualizing what the project was and just getting some initial feedback from them as to what potentially could be done in a site plan that would pacify the association and align with with everybody in that area. I also don't think that this aligns with our land use plan at all in that area. We, as Mr. Tamarkin pointed out, we just rezoned this area 2 years ago for a reason. We had a lot of people working really hard on our zoning code rewrite, and I believe that the code that we changed that area to, the neighborhood commercial, fits more in line with that area rather than general commercial. So for that reason, I will also not be in favor of this motion. And with that, Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Oh.
May I request a tabling?
Can certainly do that. That is an option.
I'm going to deny that request. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Soriano.
No.
Tamarkin.
No.
Pollyea.
No.
Chapaca.
No.
Greenberg.
No.
Laser.
No.
Mako.
No.
Motion fails. If you'd like, you can speak with the clerk afterwards as to next steps.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Moving on, in our agenda, item F, unfinished business. I don't believe there is any this evening.
We have another
Yeah, we have the,
application for the
the
city.
back.
Oh, my goodness, I'm so sorry. Where is it? Yeah, that's new business. That's under new business. Yeah, that's why, yeah, it's under new. I was like, wait, I didn't,
It's under unfinished.
it's under new.
Yep, there you
Actually.
go, okay.
Yeah. So, yes. And this is item 2026-0025. I know, right? Yeah, thank you. Give me 1 second. Thank you. Thank you very much. Item 2026-0025, to recommend approval to City Council, a stormwater management waiver requested by the Department of Engineering in accordance with Section 1113.02E of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Gahanna, parcel ID 025-004304, Academy Park. Please proceed.
Good evening. I'm Holly Boyer, Senior Utilities Engineer for the City of Gahanna, and I'm honored to be here today representing your engineering department. This is the site location. As you can see, it's adjacent to the Big Walnut. You can go ahead to the next slide. So I know that you guys probably don't see too many waivers for the stormwater provisions. This is because it's very specific site restrictions, and not very common that sites are meeting those restrictions. In 111302, the city code allows the waiver, but it's only if there is no harmful increase in runoff caused by the project. You also need to document the no flooding, and that it's not going to cause any serious harm or issues to do that. We have a project that's abutting Walnut Creek, which was one of the other requirements for approval for a waiver. And then we also have to ensure that they're still meeting the state permit, which they do. So if you want to advance, oh, sorry, you're over here, advance to the other one if you would, next. So the project is Academy Park. They're going to be tearing down the old facilities there and building some new facilities that are ADA compliant, replacing playgrounds, adding a concession facility, park expansion, and they're putting in trails and sidewalks and a new stormwater feature. The waiver criteria, I guess I kind of already went through a bit of the requirements for being allowed to do a waiver. The analysis that was submitted to us by the design engineer working on the project shows that after they add in the detention that's required by the state, that there will be no harmful increases and no changes functionally. It's de minimis changes to the site hydraulics. So there's no objection from city staff on granting the waiver. It's waiving the water quantity provisions of City of Gahanna as opposed to the water quantity and quality from EPA. So it's just, we're not going to go above and beyond the state's requirements at this site. So that's the gist of it. There are 2 additional slides at the end that you can ignore, and those will be on next week's agenda.
I'm just going to ask you if you wouldn't mind staying at the
I
podium.
wasn't sure if anybody wanted to talk from the applicant.
This portion of the agenda is not open to public comment.
New flow.
So, yeah. So we'll move directly to questions from the commission.
Thank you.
If that's okay with you. Mr. Shapaka?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Academy Park, there's a stream that runs along the north part of it. How can us adding 2 rows of parking, a larger footprint of the building, a paved, probably playground area, we're confident that we can pick all that up with the detention system?
Yeah, if you look at the analysis that was provided to us by their engineering team on page 5, table 7, they show for each of the design frequencies what the pre-developed and the post-developed conditions are, and the change in the site hydraulics at every return frequency for storms is de minimis.
So the detention is going to be by pond?
Yes.
So no underground tanks or anything? Is that the 500-year floodplain or 100-year floodplain that we're looking at there?
So the hatched lines are your floodway, the blue is the floodplain fringes, and then the 500 year is the yellow.
The orange is 500.
The orange is the 500? All right.
Oh, I'm sorry, orange, am I colorblind?
Thank you. Madam Chair?
Thank you. Mr. Mako?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple questions. One technical question, just to make sure I'm looking at the site plan correctly. So what's being proposed with the detention? You're going to be installing, really I guess the area here is the parking. So you're going to be installing new catch basins with an 18-inch storm, and then that's going to go into the detention, and then it's going to be released by a 6-inch storm into also an existing 6-inch storm, and then to the natural drainage. Am I looking at this correctly?
I believe so.
Okay.
I don't have the figure up, but yeah, that sounds accurate.
Okay, just to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. And then I think this might be a legal question. So because we have a stamped hydraulic analysis by a PE that conceivably shields the city from any type of potential litigation, saying that we've done our due diligence and we're not going to be creating a horrible externality to the public. Is that a correct?
Yeah, I think by what they're proposing meets the state codes. So we are not like absolving this project of, what they're doing to the runoff. We're saying it meets the state code, which is lesser than what our city code is. So I don't foresee any problems.
Okay. Again, I just wanted to make sure that we're if we grant this waiver, that somebody's not going to come back. And that's kind of why I go back to having a stamped hydraulic analysis by a PE. We can kind of cover ourselves saying we've done our due diligence. Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Mr. Soriano?
Just a point of clarification. We are simply going to be adhering to the state stormwater standards, and the Gahanna has a more restrictive stormwater. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Got it.
We have a critical storm that we normally calculate. They were at 95% on their runoff increase, and it would have required them to detain the 10-year storm back to the 1-year storm.
Okay.
So they would have had to add considerably larger pond than what they're citing. With the close proximity to the floodplain and it being a rather large stream, it's not warranted. It's better to actually pass the flows through before the peak of the storm.
Okay. Thank you. And then last question. I know this is for a stormwater waiver, but given the conversation on the floodplain, I just recall there are a lot of stipulations for building either in the floodplain, the floodway, all those, there are restrictions, and I'm assuming we're accommodating those
That'll
restrictions.
go through on the environmental site compliance plans.
Okay.
Through the floodplain coordinator.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean,
Something to flag.
They'll definitely have to have a floodplain use permit as part of the project.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
No more questions, sorry, thank you.
Ms. Laser?
No additional questions.
Mr. Greenberg?
Is the retention pond dry, or is it filled with water all the time?
Can you remind me? It's dry detention.
Okay. All right. And are there
They
any?
designed it.
Huh?
They designed it.
Are there any other best management practices that were required that we're doing them all, or as part of the code, or the state code as far as the stormwater?
We're meeting the water quantity and quality for redevelopment through the state code and also like quality. So we're going to be improving water quality and detaining for redevelopment standards per OEPA.
Okay. And where's the discharge?
I mean, I think it pretty much goes straight to the river on a
So
swale.
From that detention?
Yeah, it has a direct hydraulic connection to the Big Walnut. That's one of the precursors to being allowed to even entertain the waiver.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
I have no questions.
I also don't have any questions. Does anyone have any additional comments?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I have a little follow-up question. So the detention area is near the playground? Is that where the detention basin is? Just southeast of the playground? Is it fenced?
I'm sure we can have it be fenced if you would like it to.
Yeah, I mean, you got controlling kids playing in the playground, and now I have a little ramped area that I can go down in the dry detention area.
Yeah, we typically do make them fence it. Do you guys have a fence?
It's dry and planted to kind of deter people from entering.
So how deep is it designed for? Were you sworn in?
Curtis Eckleberry, Advanced Civil Design, 781 Science Boulevard, Gahanna. So it's a maximum like 3 foot deep when fully inundated with water.
Can you explain the condition or the apparatus that the exit, the pipe, and how the water exits the building or exits the area? Is it?
Yeah, so there'll be a catch basin that helps limit and draw down the water to meet the water quality requirements by the Ohio EPA. There is a secondary pipe that kind of helps carry secondary flow. Both pipes are existing and have direct connects to the drainage.
Are they graded?
What's that?
Graded? I mean grated, so that little kids can't climb through there. I know it's only a 6 or 8 inch, but
It'll be like 4 inches or less in diameter, and then there's the catch basin has a grate on top. Yeah.
Thank you, Curtis. Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any comments, additional comments? No? Okay. Then, I guess do we need to make a motion for this too?
A motion to recommend
Recommend.
approval to council.
Okay, could I get a motion to recommend approval to council for stormwater management waiver requested by the Department of Engineering in accordance with section 1113.02E of the codified ordinances of the city of Gahanna, parcel ID 025-004304, Academy Park?
Yes, Madam Chair, I make a motion to recommend to council approval of 2026-0025.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Tamarkin, second by Mr. Greenberg. Is there any additional comments? Seeing-
Well, before we vote, just like to say that Tom Wester used to sit over here, and I remember when the stricter standards were put into play, and they were put in for future growth of Gahanna, and I think that that applies for a lot of areas outside this particular site. So for us to drop back down to the state, I think is appropriate.
Thank you. Anyone else have any additional comments before we call? Okay. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Tamarkin,
Yes.
Greenberg,
Yes.
Suriano,
Yes.
Pollyea,
Yes.
Laser,
Yes.
Mako,
Yes.
Chapaca.
Yes.
Approval is recommended to City Council on the matter. Thank you. Moving on to official reports. I will start with Assistant City Attorney.
Nothing to report at this time.
Okay. And how about Mr. Blackford, Director of Planning?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of items. One, it's been quite a while since we had participation in a meeting like we had tonight. Want to commend Planning Commission and Madam Chair for handling that so well. Planning Commission, you all are very much a positive add to our development process, and that was, again, on display tonight. Our next meeting, we'll see you exactly in a month, March 11th. We're anticipating a few applications. Hopefully, 2 of those applications will be for the Academy project that you just saw tonight, a development plan and a variance. And hopefully as well, we'll have some code changes as well for you to consider. So we're very excited about that. We'll see you in a month. Thank you all very much.
Ms. Laser, Council Liaison.
Oh, yes. Okay, I'll make it quick. There were 2 meetings. The January 20th meeting, there was a new officer sworn in to Gahanna, and 2 officers were sworn in as lieutenants. It was a packed house for my first meeting. They also congratulated Judge James E. Green on his retirement. They talked about they're hosting a Creekside Chocolate Walk this coming weekend on the 15th from 1 to 5, and all the proceeds go to give to Gahanna. They had a meeting on February 2nd with a lovely presentation recognizing Black History Month and the life of Cora Thurman. It was really well done. They talked about Herb Day. It's going to be Saturday, May 2nd. They're accepting vendor applications, and they're looking for sponsors and vendor applications for the Creekside Jazz and Blues Fest. It'll be June 19th through 21st. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
This is your first official report. I appreciate your taking on that responsibility. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Madam Mayor?
Thank you very much. As the city was an applicant on 2 of your items tonight, I thought it would be appropriate that I would sit in the applicant section rather than up on the dais tonight. So once again, thank you for taking your time, asking informed questions, and most importantly, I believe treating everyone who comes into this chambers with respect. And that's something I've always admired and appreciated about Planning Commission. So moving on, the only update I would have is just a quick update on 825 Tech Center Drive, the Gahanna Civic Center. Actually, he did not introduce himself this evening, but our speaker this evening was Kevin Schultz, our Senior Director of Operations. He also is the project manager on the Gahanna Civic Center project that we have. Monday night at Council, he gave an update on the status of that project and shared at that that meeting that we are about 60 to 75 days out from moving. And so you can go back and watch that very exhilarating presentation by Director Schultz. But effectively, we'll be looking to and everything is tentative, asterisk tentative, because we're still working with the contractor and the construction manager. And if you know any student who's thinking about a future career, steer them to become an electrician. That's all I'm going to say. It's a viable option. But we are looking to start to begin to move into that building, obviously, 60, 75 days. In the March timeframe, we'll be looking at moving in over a 4-week period, phased in, as you can imagine, moving everything from City Hall operations here, the entire police operations, and then our senior center over to that building with very limited disruption to service to our residents is of the utmost importance. So we'll be everything from starting to move boxes of documents over there and then phasing that in will be happening. We are looking potentially at a ribbon cutting in late April. And sometime in February, maybe even between the end of this month, early March, we'd be looking to take all of you in for a tour of that facility. We've certainly had workshops here and have put those plans through before all of you. You voted on them, and we think you deserve to see the inside of that building. While it's not a construction zone, at least Kevin's shaking his head. It's always going to be a construction zone in his mind. But we'll be reaching out to all of you to get something scheduled so that we can get you through that building as people who are pertinent to moving that project forward. And that's all I have for this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I look forward to that. As chair, I do not have any official action reports tonight, so we'll move on to correspondence and actions. Is there anything?
No, ma'am.
Then I'm going to go through all the members of the commission for additional comments, and I'm going to start with you, Mr. Chapaka.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Really like to hang the hat on the work that was done on the land use plan. I think that's a huge benefit in guidance for us as a planning commission. Good job. Second thing is my son got out of the service and became an electrician. It is a very, very rewarding job. The company he was with, he graduated from Gahanna, and he got to pretty much work on the high school the whole time it was here. Very rewarding. It is a great career. I would like to see a lot more kids go into that. Also, I would like to say, Madam Chair, that you're digging in your heels and not letting the issue be tabled. Could have drawn out that issue a little bit more. It seemed like pretty definitive that we were against the concept, and giving them a little bit more hope on that. I'm glad you had the foresight to see that it was not going anywhere, so good job.
Thank you. Mr. Mako.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No additional comments.
Mr. Soriano.
No comments from me. Happy February.
Ms. Laser.
No comments.
Mr. Greenberg.
No comment.
Mr. Tamarkin.
No comments.
All right, no comments from me as well.
One more? One more?
Yes, sir.
Tonight, it's signatures. The Queen of Hearts game had about, probably want to say, a $55,000 jackpot. It was down to 4 cards. You all almost lost me here tonight. There were 4 cards left. One of them was number 10. That was the number that I had. It drew an ace of diamonds. So now it's down to 3 cards for a $60,000 pot. So I would say next Wednesday, let's all meet over there and buy a ticket.
What time?
I believe it's 7 o'clock.
All right. Thanks for the update. All right. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.